eco way of freezing avocado. Do it when it is in the slicing stage or peeling stage. Don't wait until it's all mushy. You cut the avocado in half lengthwise so that you can remove the seed and the seed coat easily. Then you scoop that with a sturdy spoon or thing and put them in a double zip bag. To preserve that nice avocado color, use some lemon or lime juice. How much depends on your taste. When you're removing the pocket, or the air pocket, you're going to be thumping, rolling around, and that will be spreading the juice, and you're also mashing it a certain way. Then, when you think you've removed as much air packet you have, zip it, throw it in the freezer. If your freezer is running good, it will last more than a year. But the CHAYA should be boiled. The ones are here, we recommend 5 minutes of boiling. Because there's a chemical in there that when it mixes with the digestive juices, then it forms cyanide, and that's no good, okay? So, you have to boil the leaves, though. Like I told you, we have CHAYA in the house.
Uh-oh.
Does anyone remember the way back?
Here is the problem. We do not know the toxic dose. How many leaves does one have to eat until they keel over? Simply because nobody wants to volunteer. Then we would know what's the toxic dose. Then we can advise people accurately,
Throttle back.
That's all. The boiled CHAYA leaf has no taste. It will take on the flavor and the aroma of what you're gonna cook with. It's just as nice and blue and as clean a gas that you can, see you being used in the home, either the turning tank or being piped in. All of this is free. When you get done using all the gas in the barrel, then the slurry is a fertilizer. Whereas if you're going to use the animal, or especially the cow pies that most Indian use for cooking, it cannot be used as fertilizer. Okay?
How did they get all that stuff in that little hole there? That must be a pain in the neck for somebody.
No, this one here, we have a funnel.
Oh,
Yeah,
they mix
we
it
have a
outside.
funnel. Yeah, you mix the slurry here first. It's a lot easier than putting all the poopy in there and then putting the water and then stirring it. And that's
Is this a lot of water or a little bit of water?
Not so, about like so. But you want to know the details of how to do that, that is also in the published Eco book. More importantly, since Eco is all about teaching people how to grow food under difficult conditions, the main food of these pigs are very thinly sliced banana stalk that is pounded and put in container, and certain amount of salt, molasses or brown sugar, and whatever brand is available. That's all stirred and mixed, and then let it stay there for several days, and that's the slop that they are fed. We did not rob people any food. Into the pig, okay? And they are a lot more quiet and a lot more friendly because there's a little bit of fermentation going on.
That's
See? Okay, so that is what you will see there. If the intern in charge of that is doing the job of inoculating the IMO every 2.5 to 3 weeks, there should be no smell. You see, in the usual piggery, even if you're here this far, it's already stinking. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
What is it?
Now, are you all familiar with this fruit? Cecropia. It is not grown primarily for the fruit. It is grown for shade and for the biomass. It produces a lot of leaves that don't burn. You collect them. Okay. It is sometimes called the trumpet flowering tree because the flower, when I go on that, they look like some of the multiple trumpet. It is also called the monkey tail fruit because when you peel the outer cone, there is something that looks inside like the monkey tail. Okay, and it's dripping. It is dripping with juice. This looks like a worm, but this is very sweet.
You eat the whole thing?
Yes.
I'll share.
Who has never tried it?
Who's never
If
tried
from New York, you gotta try it.
Yummy.
it?
It's very good.
Yeah, share that with other people. Just break off a piece. It tastes good. That tastes good. It is very sweet. Oh my. Yeah, that's right. Pull it out. There you go. See,
Oh, yeah.
it looks like that because it looks like the monkey tail. So when you have a syrup, and that is the making of a biochar. And we used to think that biochar is just all wood. We now know how to make biochar out of pieces of stem like this, or corn cobs, or the other bleeding of the bigger weeds in the garden and so forth. We now know how to do that. It's all in the kiln.
So you have to put in a tub like that, a container?
Yeah. See, if you come over here, I'll show you. Touch that elbow and wrap that elbow with a cloth that will collect the oily steam that is going out to them. So once the good fire is going that way, why then put this over here, and then a pile of wet sand goes all around, so there's no more oxygen going in there. So now the flame will eventually get all out, but the heat that has built in there is so high that it will continue to desiccate the pile of wood in there. Now, when you do it that way, I don't know whether you have tried, I'm sure you have, if you were growing in Pangasinan, what you must have remembered, that you cannot make charcoal out of the bamboo wood. Because it will burn so fast that before you can even say charcoal, it's now ashes.
Oh.
Okay? And bamboo is one of the great sources of wood to burn and make biochar or firewood, because bamboos can grow very quickly, and that a new cane in less than a year is already ready to be harvested. Now, when you're planting carambola, when it's still pretty young, I'm sure you have, freezes in your county like we do here. Where they're young, well, you have to protect them from freezes, but because the ground don't freeze once the cold temperature is over and the sun shines, they come again. Okay, but when your trees are pretty young, and even when they're already mature here, to make them fruit almost year-round is in the secret of watering. Okay, I don't know whether you're aware of that. If it has not rained for almost 3 weeks, water your plants very well. And since the soil here is pretty sandy, water will run pretty quickly. So you have to build some kind of trench around, or like a basin. Okay, so when you think you have watered the tree very well, take time to dig, along the tree line, and if you're coming to 4 or 5 inches below ground surface, not the mulch level, but the ground surface, that will give you an idea whether you've watered it enough or not. The carambola should not be eaten by people who have kidney problems or uncontrolled blood pressure problems, because it's very high in oxalic acid. When oxalic acid, in the presence of kidneys that are not functioning well, or high blood pressure or liver problems, when that oxalic acid mixes with the calcium in the blood, it is forming kidney stones. It's the most common. The calcium oxalate variety of kidney stones is the most common kidney stone type. So, oxalic acid is concentrated in the top of the ridges. As they mature, the oxalic acid is being concentrated here. So whether you have kidney problems or not, it's always good if you're eating just one or two once a week or once a month. It doesn't matter whether you chomp on the whole thing. But it's always a good practice after, washing to remove that thing there where oxalic acid is concentrated. Now, to dry this in a food dehydrator, if you're going to cut it this way, where then you're leaving a lot of the fiber material like that. Now, if you're lazy like me, then you cut in the valley. Okay? But if you are, then you cut on top of the ridge. But as you do this in a mature and, ripe carambola, then you just go like this and you remove in one stroke all the seeds and the fiber. Pay particular attention to the color of the fruit, especially the ones that are not exposed all the time to the sunshine. Okay, excuse me. You see, when the fruit, you notice the young fruit and the immature fruit are very deep green, okay? Very deep green. So pay attention to that, because when you begin to notice a lightening of the color, especially the ones that in the shade that are beginning to have a little bit of a yellowish color, that is mature. Then you pick it, of course, and just let it sit there or whatever until it changes in color or become mushy. And when you begin to feel like it's mushy, just wait another day.